Listen up here. The restaurant industry is grueling and unpredictable, just like this show, from the front of the house to the back of the house and all in between. We will turn up the heat, you turn up the volume. I'm Chef Antonio Caruana. Welcome to the Tell All Podcast, The Burnt Hands Perspective.
This podcast contains explicit and potentially offensive material. You've been warned. Now buckle up, bitches. Let's go.
Listen up here. The restaurant industry is grueling and unpredictable, just like this show, from the front of the house to the back of the house and all in between. We will turn up the heat, you turn up the volume. I'm Chef Antonio Caruana. Welcome to the Tell All Podcast, The Burnt Hands Perspective. All right, Kristen, here we are.
Here we are.
Burnt Hands Perspective. Today we're going to talk about some fun stuff, the big thing, the big topic.
The big topic, Italian-American food or American-Italian food, however we want to say it.
However you want to call it, Italo-American.
Italo-American. American. So we're going to do 5 things you need to know when it comes to Italian-American in general.
Sure.
So,
and it's fun because the first thing about it is the first fuck up is the translations are amazing. They're fun. We talk about it, and on social media all over the place, you see all the Italian guys right now getting stupid headway.
Well, you joke about that because they're doing the whole
paisana, gabagool, and the mortadella, and prosciutto, all that stuff. So there's such a translation difference in on all, as well as the actual what it is and how it's said and what it means here in America in the different boroughs you are in New York City, or if you're from New Jersey or Philly or Rhode Island. There's all that kind of different stuff. For instance, sauce in Rhode Island, it really started there, and some people claim it New Jersey, but honestly, it goes back to Providence area, Federal Hill area of gravy.
Gravy. When people say gravy, we're talking about on Sunday gravy. So what is gravy?
Gravy, I guess, is a sauce.
It's a sauce.
It's a sauce. So you got to make the goddamn gravy. So you got to have the rigatone, the gravy. You got to have, everybody loves it. It's the maroons. That's all part of the American Italian culture, which I love, right?
Well, you are.
I am.
So it's kind of you.
Correct. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You have to love it, or you don't love yourself.
Right.
But you have to love it. But when people come to like your restaurant, so take example like Luce Segato.
Sure.
People come in and your menu is not American, Italian American. It's not
it's more regional. It's fusion and regional Italian off the regions of Italy and the kingdoms they came from before Italy was a country. So I do a lot of focus on a lot of the regions in Italy as far as how they're done there by standard, by law, by DOP, or whatever it is, by using the ingredients proper to that area and to that region.
Okay.
So that's what I do, and that's when you go to Italy, you'll see a whole different menu.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that too. Yeah. That's going to be kind of at the end of it, because it's different when people come into like your restaurant. They're like, you don't have Italian food. And because you don't have fettuccine Alfredo, you don't have the things that we have.
We don't have the fettuccine Alfredo. We don't have the chicken parm. We don't have all that stuff that is amazing. We don't have the chicken francese or the chicken piccatas. We don't have the chicken marsala, which we do have some chicken marsala stuff, variations of it and versions.
Pork marsala, amazing.
Pork marsala. Well, we have different versions of it. We use a higher elevated marsala, which is more of a introduction to where marsala was made from Italy back in the day.
And it's amazing.
And it is. So it's a more elevated with a lot more steps to ours, but. We have versions of them. But typically, the eggplant parmesan, the veal parmesan, all the things we've come to love as Italian Americans and people and Americans who like Italian food were introduced to it in that format. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with it. Let's just talk about the differences.
Let's talk about
not the rights or wrongs, because there isn't. Love them both.
They're delicious. It's all delicious.
Are you kidding me? Right now, are you kidding me? Some braciole. Ow.
But it came out of necessity.
It came out of necessity.
You go into the history of this a lot when you talk about food. So when people came here and you had immigration and people were trying to become American, like it did. Everything gets kind of shifted. So talk about that and then like kind of where it is today.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a lot of the Italian American immigrants that came over here at the beginning when the boom of the country was here back then. A lot of them were from the southern hemisphere of Italy. So they came from the southern climates, right? They came from the tomatoes. They came from the abundant fruits and vegetables that don't exist here. Okay, they came from the cheeses that they had from Rome and south. A lot of them were based on sheep, and a lot of the things that just didn't happen here. We just didn't have it.
Nowadays we have more access, but back then this is totally different.
We're going right back to history. We're not talking about today.
Yeah,
we're talking about back then. when they came to New York City,
1900s
lived in these
early.
little, these shanty villages and these Italian little boroughs
Yep.
in the city. They weren't accessible. There was no sheep running around. If they did, they ate it. You know, there was no such thing.
That was dinner.
So a lot of the pecorino romano, the pecorino cheese, the romano cheese, all these things came from, a lot of them came from sheep. So that's a prime example. They didn't have it.
Gotcha.
So they had to do the next best thing, right?
Yeah.
The Northern Italian was also influxed by the German and the Austrian immigrants here because they all fed off each other because they were all used to eating that same style there, which introduced a lot of the Italian American cuisine. Basically, what it comes down to is everybody did the best they could to remember or repeat, kind of mimic what they were doing there with the best they could have here.
Yeah.
Okay. Couldn't get a bunch of fresh milk to make, or buffalo milk to make buffalo mozzarella, so they had to make it their own way, as close as they can. Fresh mozzarella, whole milk mozzarella from here. You had to get with the French people back then to get rennet and to make cheese. So it wasn't, you know, you had to make the cheese. The milk had to curdle. With that, they would make ricotta the best they could. So everything that happened in America was them trying to remember or mimic what they came from as best they could with the ingredients they had today.
Gotcha.
So chicken was abundant.
And somewhat inexpensive
Somewhat
at the
inexpensive.
time.
Now back in Italy and stuff, chicken and Parmesan is not a thing.
Yeah.
It may be a thing now as they're trying to mimic what goes on here, the younger generations.
Tourists or
something like that, but typically it's not even a thing.
No.
So breading a piece of chicken, frying it, putting sauce on it and melting cheese on it, it wasn't a thing, right? Yeah. Here though, al forno, it's a way to make it taste good. Anybody can bake chicken or fry chicken, but how do you make it so it tastes to their palate? Okay. We have Italian palates. We have it. Garlic, acidity, tomatoes, umami. We have that palate. We want it always to blend, right? Yeah. So what was the best way to make a dish taste like that is to combine them best you can.
Stack it up.
Exactly. Stack it up.
Just stack it up. That's fine.
So if that's where a lot of the Italian American stuff comes in, you know?
Yeah. Well, we want to talk about the portion sizes too, because I think when people come here, they see chicken, and you have it in your restaurant too, where there's some portions you're like, geez, I can't eat all this like in one sitting because it's huge here. So I think people are in shock. You go over there and you're not. But if you ate that way every day, like Americans do, you would be, fat and obese and lazy, whatever. So right. Our portions are different. Our portions are different because it's just the way the American standard expects. I think more so portion control in America isn't about being obese or being lazy. I believe it's America's friggin' grind and always fucking want as much as they can get for their dollar. I think it's more of a value thing in America. Like they want, if they're going to pay $30, they want this thing abundant. I don't think it's because they're so fucking hungry. Yeah. But if you sell somebody, you'll see the biggest jokes out there when it comes, a lot of country music will brag on this and stuff where, they'll get a little piece of steak with a thing on it for $75 and complain that if I wanted an hors d'oeuvre for $75, well, you're eating to eat and that's all your stomach can really handle. Or you're going to pay $35 for a plate of food that you're probably going to take home and eat 4 more times. That's where it comes in. I don't believe it's America's palate to eat just like slobs. Okay. I think we eat like slobs because we yeah, I think we do most of the time. Yeah, we do. But it's because we've been conditioned to kind of be that way. Yeah. So much for so little. Yeah. As Americans. Mm-hmm. We demand you give as much as me, as fucking much as possible right now. Now in Italy, Europe, wherever else, let's stick on Italy here. When you go to Italy and you eat, you're eating portions that are small. You're eating to the moment. You don't eat pasta at nighttime. You eat pasta during the day. Whereas in America, you go out for spaghetti and meatballs at 8 o'clock at night. The spaghettis and meatballs don't even work in Italy. It's not even a dish. Yeah. Right? So here, we take the meats. Let's talk about that. Why would you put meatballs on top of spaghetti, on top of sauce, and eat it all at one time and consume that much? Right? So in Italy, we'll make a sauce, a sugo or a ragu, or a nice slow braised roast or a lamb shank, right? In that lamb shank, you have the sauces, you braise it, you cook it slow. So now you have the braising juices. So now it's common. You take some pasta, toss it with them braising juices, right? Eating there is a long time experience. Family, friends, relationship, it doesn't matter.
all day.
Hours.
You don't just go and cram all this stuff in 2 hour sitting. You sit for 4.
Yeah.
So you have a little antipasta, you have a social hour, you have a little drink, you have some wine. That goes away. You talk. As you're talking, now comes out a little bit of pasta with that sugo. You're really doing it to celebrate the sauce that was in the braising. It's not so much because you want to shove pasta down your throat, you have to have it now. But you want to celebrate the sauce that braising dish is in. So you have a nice little bit of pasta with it, or some polenta, or some potato, or something like that, a little bit of a starch, right? And then you eat that and consume that. After that goes away, now comes the meat. And if you cooked meatballs in that sauce, you eat the meatball or
with
the
sauce.
pork or the lamb or whatever is in there, right? Whatever was slowly
But it's separate.
cooked.
It's typically all separate.
And you eat that. You take that with a little bit of arugula, some fresh vegetables, and you eat that this way, right? So your dining experience is totally different, okay? And that's how they were used to eating it there. The American culture isn't so quick to do that. They're quicker to leave than they're quicker to stay.
We want it now. We want it fast.
We need a lot of it, and we have to have it right now. So it's easier to put the spaghetti with the meatballs, give it all to you. You eat it as fast as you can, sit there, rub your stomach, and go home. I'm not downing anybody. It's just our culture. It's just the way it is.
It's the way it is.
So these are why in Italy and here it's so different. If you go to Italy and you're going to eat, you're going to get a whole different experience. If you ask for a pepperoni pizza, they don't have pepperoni there. That is an American-made thing.
Yeah.
Pepperoncini, pepperoni is a pepper. Okay?
Okay.
Pepperoni.
So don't ask for that.
Right. So if you're going to get that, you're going to get pepperoni as peppers, red peppers, bell peppers.
Don't be surprised if that's what
is
you
a
ask
green
for.
pepper. You know.
Okay.
So if you go ask for a pepperoni pizza, you're probably going to get a pizza with roasted red peppers on it, because that's what it is.
Okay.
Now, when they came back in the day, you have Calabrian salami. If you go to Calabria, you have Calabrese salami, which is a spicy. Everything down south is spicy. So you had a Calabrian salami.
Yeah.
Okay. The Calabrians, southern Italy, came here to America, couldn't do it, so they took the pork, and they can get what they got here, and they made their version of it, which Americans called pepperoni, because they called it pepperoni because there was red pepper in it.
Ah, okay.
So it was spicy and hot, so there was Calabrian pepper in it, so they called that the pepperoni. It was salami or soprasata pepperoni, meaning salami with pepper in it, red pepper. So the American people, or the Italian Americans, took it on and called it pepperoni.
Ah, I did not know that.
They're calling it pepperoni because that's the pepper salami of back in the day. So in Calabria, they make the salami with the Calabrian chili peppers. They didn't have that when they came here. So they took the next best thing they could. They took regular American crushed red pepper or whatever they could get here, and they called it the same thing. Salami pepperoni.
And then it became the American version of it.
It became the American version of it. So now we have pepperoni as we know it in America.
Yep.
But pepperoni really just means pepper, right? It needs the peppers. So that's what it translates to. Okay. So now when you go to Italy and ask for pepperoni, you're going to get exactly what you asked for, a pepper.
Yeah, you're going to
get... Not pepperoni as a salami. It doesn't exist,
what you think
right?
It is here.
Right.
That's
so that's
crazy.
how pepperoni came. I hope everybody understands what I just said.
I got it, because I did not know that. So that's actually a
same thing. Now let's move forward back. So if you go to northern Italy, where you go to Bologna, where it's just made mortadella, all these beautiful meats come from this area. Okay. So when you go to Bologna, Italy, you have mortadella, which is their prize creation. It has pistachio in it. It has peppercorn in it. Some of it doesn't. It's got the chunks of lard in it, cut very thin. It's an absolute delicacy. Actually, it's on this sandwich right here.
It is on that one, isn't it?
Yes, it's delicious. So mortadella came to America, couldn't make it no more. So the Italian immigrants had to make it as best they could to how they would get it in there. Okay. So the only thing is they didn't have the same breed of pork. They didn't have the same fatty consistency. They didn't have a way of forming it properly, because all their tools, all their presses, everything that they were doing to make mortadella back home was there. So they had to use the next best thing here. Okay. So when they started doing it, they started making it. Americans started eating it. Italian Americans started eating it. Okay. They couldn't call it mortadella because to them it wasn't true mortadella. Yep. But they were calling it that. But the people coming in didn't know what mortadella was. So they were calling it mortadella con Bologna. Okay?
From
Bologna.
Bologna.
Yeah. Bologna, baloney.
So that's what it turned
That's now why people look at bologna. It represents mortadella. Bologna is not an Italian thing, and it's not an American thing. It's an American form of what the Italians were trying to make mortadella. They created the same loaf, the same round, minus the fat, and it transferred slowly. It evolved into bologna. My first name has a right, that shit. So that's where it comes from. So bologna is a slow transition of the word Bologna, 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 Bologna. It comes from Bologna, Italy, where mortadella comes from. So that's how the Italian-American food transitioned from being Italian to here.
To what it is now.
To here where it is now.
That's pretty cool.
So there's a lot of things that falls into place.
Yeah. So, and we could talk about the sauce. The sauce. So I know, and even with my great grandmother who was from Malta, like she just despised white sauce. Like if you put it on the table, she was going to throw the fucking pot against the wall.
Southern Italians do not eat white sauce very often. If they do, it's only in the form of a cream sauce that was generated by cheese, not by cream.
Not by cream.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there's a totally different thing. So Rome has the major sauces of Rome, which come from Rome. Okay, and they all came in periods of time. Okay. So you started out with the carbonara?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, you started first with cacio e pepe.
Okay, yeah, just the pepper and butter.
Right. Then you had Grecia. Grecia means Greeks, the Greek way, the way of Greece. So the shepherds would come in from Greece from that era, and they would be mountain men and shepherds. They would go up into the mountains. In cacio e pepe, you just use the cheese, pepper, pasta, water. That was a very basic back 3,000 years ago. That was the original Rome from sauce, the Roman Empire, okay? Then Grecia came along when they took it into the sheep herders, took it up into the mountains, and the Grecia style from Greece, where they would take the chunks of they would put in their pockets dried guanciale, pork jowl, or jowl from the sheep or lamb, whatever it is they farmed, and they would go up in the mountains, take this jowl with them, and they would add it for substance.
More for survival.
More for survival.
Protein.
For protein and stuff, and then it came back down. And they reintroduced it to Rome. Then came Grecia. And then from Grecia came carbonara, which is adding an egg to the guanciale, to the rendering, to the cheese. So you can see how it progressed in time. We're talking 2,000 to 3,000 different years. And then now, not that long, sorry. You're talking about within 1,000 years. Yeah. And then you come into way later on, where you have Tiziana, which is from that region of area. Okay. They removed the egg and added tomato, because tomato wasn't even introduced to Italy until way later. So those are the four major sauces of Rome, and you could really see how they've the evolution. Slowly evolution. So come back here to America. Where did Alfredo come from? Alfredo really is very new. Alfredo is very new. So there's a chef who made Alfredo because, really, honestly, he was trying to make cacio e pepe, didn't have the ingredients, the cheese was curdling, it didn't work. The pecorino and Parmesan cheese wasn't available, so he did the next best thing. He tried to compromise because he was in a position, and he created it. Added a little bit of nutmeg. He used cheese, cream, because the cheese kept curdling. It kept separating, so he added some cream to it to try and mimic it. It ended up being amazing, and then that took off here in America. Fettuccine Alfredo. So Alfredo is the man's last name. That's where it came from, the guy who invented it.
Wow.
So there's no such thing as an Alfredo sauce in Italy. It didn't come from it. It's not one of the major sauces of Rome. Okay. So that is a major sauce of like Pittsburgh. and there's a historian out there that can correct exactly where it came from. Sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely telling you that it is what it is. So Alfredo came out of necessity.
It's not from Italy.
Same thing with a Caesar dressing. It's not Italian at all. It came from a chef, Caesar, who needed to create something on the fly, ran out of something, and he had to just put things together. It ended up being a hit, and it took off from there.
Still here
today.
And
it's a staple.
Which is crazy.
At every Italian restaurant, you can see people, they make Caesar tableside. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? That's cool, but it's not Italian, though. Believe it or not. It's Italian American. Yeah. Right? So that goes all the way to pastas and fresh pastas and the applicable times you put pastas dry and fresh and what dishes. There's so much to it. You know?
Well, so some of the history, which a lot of people don't know, and that's fascinating. And I know you love food history, so you have the history of a lot of Italian dishes. We'll probably go over through this season, but the cheese part of it, because like Olive Garden, like you're at Olive Garden, they're like they got the grinder and they just keep going and they just keep going and they just keep going.
So cheese is cheese. It's amazing, right? Everybody loves cheese, and it's very easy to cover things up with it. It's very easy to add any type of structure to something. It's very easy to take something that's basic, just add cheese.
Just add cheese.
It's very simple. Everybody knows.
Cheese is delicious. It's going to make it better.
This is no mystery.
No.
I'm not saying it's bad because I'm all about it.
Oh, right? I love cheese. I put cheese on everything.
Now there's cheese. Now, in abundance, it's too much.
Yeah.
So everything American style and Italian American is based around cheese, because cheese was, at the time back then, one of the main sources of protein.
Yeah.
So you put cheese on there because it filled you up. It made substance. So if you had chicken, fucking throw some cheese on it. Let's get full. Let's get fat.
Everybody had the government cheese.
Right. Yeah. Chicken Parmigiana, for instance, is layered, and there is things in Italy that are Parmigiana style, like an eggplant, very nice and light, a little bit of cheese on top, fresh basil,
but a little bit of
a fresh tomato, with a little bit of garlic, just beautiful, right? Just very delicate and nice, and that's a beautiful Parmigiana. So that's where the chicken came from.
Okay.
Add the chicken to it. Let's make a chicken Parmigiana, and that's how they did it, out of necessity. Feeding a family, cheap. Chicken was cheap. American style pizza, New York pizza, New Haven, Connecticut pizza.
Bigger,
abundant.
More.
Big. Why? Because you had to feed a family
with one dish.
So you
barely a paycheck.
So you would go buy pennies.
Yeah, you had
You didn't have a paycheck. You worked in a mill. You did whatever you did. Your whole family worked in the mill, and you all came back with your quarter, and you went and got a pizza to feed the family.
Trying.
In Naples, where pizza is really comes from, really honestly, where it's got its legs. Pizza's this big still to today. And sometimes it's not even cut. You just kind of rip it apart.
Like, you get there, your pizza is kind of you. Like, you're not getting a pizza for the whole family. Right. Like, you're ordering a pizza for yourself.
Correct. And 2 or 3 people can eat off 3 different ones, and try it and share. But typically, when you get a pizza, you're not eating a whole pizza you're eating a pizza as a lunch, a quick go and go. You have a couple plates, a couple slices, and you get up and go.
Yeah.
Whereas here, we take our family to Pizza Hut, and they bring out the pizza, the salad bar, the drinks, the sodas, and it's just it's a different application.
It is very, very different. Yeah.
So in Italy, there's a lot more eating throughout the day as social experiments. It's social time. It's more so than that. Yeah. Whereas in America, you go eat because you're hungry, so you sit down for lunch and fill up. And then you go and eat again at dinner time and fill up.
You have 30 minutes to eat. Correct. So you're trying to cram in as much as you can because you need it to last you until 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
So we consume calories by the boatload, essentially, or by the thousands.
Where in Italy, you're going to get up early. You're going to have a little bit of biscotti. You're going to have something later on, a little pastry. And then you're going to transition slowly. And then maybe you want a little half of a panini. You have a little sandwich. Then later on, you have a couple pieces of pizza. And then as the night goes on, or lunchtime, maybe you sit down. Now you have a little bit of pasta.
But you're also walking.
You're walking and you're carrying
so
it on.
You're not just sitting at a desk.
But you're also eating 2 ounces of it, not 5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're just having a little bit. So when you have that pasta and then you go on with it, you carry that into your dinner.
Yeah.
Of course, now people in Italy, Europe, Morocco, wherever you are, Malta, wherever they are, they're typically eating at 10:30 at night because they've already been eating slowly through the day, and you're not hungry at 7. You're snacking at 7.
Yeah.
You take a nap. You wake up. You have a little snack. You go here. You go there. You eat your little things all day long. And the more you eat slow and the more you introduce that stuff to your body, the more metabolism stays moving to burn it off.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a lot more thin figures there. There's a lot less obesity problems. It's not because they're eating less. They're just eating more often less. Their metabolism they're constantly metabolizing all the time.
But they're also, moving all day and walking. And it's more, and especially, they enjoy it. Like it's a social thing. Food is social. You want to actually connect. So that's the fun thing. When people are here, we did have an Italian episode a while ago, and we talked about this when we asked some of the Italian chefs that are, new here, citizenship-wise, the things that they hear, that they're like, it doesn't exist in Italy. Like the dishes that exist here, that if you go over there and order, you're going to look like a fucking idiot.
It's most all of them.
Pretty much everything.
It's most all of them. Yeah, it's most all of them. So chicken francese you'll have, but that is up towards the northern Italy, and that is along Trieste, where it comes off of the French panhandle. So francese means French. So in France, that dish is a very popular dish, and they call it that in the northern part of Italy, along that French, where France meets Trieste up there in Italy around that area. It's because they call it francese because it's chicken done the way the French do it. But it doesn't have to be chicken. It's typically fish or something like that because it's the coastline. So a nice fish with a little bit of artichoke heart or a little bit of lemon, white wine, touch like that. That is a French style of cooking, and the Italians took it over and call it francese. They didn't even take the name. They gave them the name still. They liked the dish. They liked how it's performed. They liked how it's done and liked the way it's produced. So typically, they don't steal regional recipes and claim them. It belongs to a region. So with paying respect to France is why that
They
name
kind of
francese
honor
has
in
the
the
name.
name. Okay.
So in the way of France is francese. That's chicken or polo or pesce francese, something like that. So that white wine, lemon, butter, that's a very French way of cooking.
It is.
Hence,
Butter, yeah.
francese. So it's not even an Italian dish. It's the Italians up there cooking it in the way of France, as if we would make, I don't know. Like as if we would create a French dish. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So when you say a chicken francese is Italian, American, it's really not even that.
It's not even that.
It's fucking French.
Okay.
We just put the name on it. It's still French.
So
it just says chicken francese.
You're not getting over there. Pepperoni pizza, fettuccine alfredo. You said the spaghetti and meatballs, chicken parmesan, Caesar salad. Like
Caesar
none
salad,
of these things
thick
are
lasagnas, big lasagnas.
Yeah. The other was sandwich. So we have sandwich culture here. The sandwiches in Italy versus the U.S. when they say it's an Italian club, I mean, or whatever the ones that
people will throw around the words. You'll go to somewhere and have off the sandwich note, but you'll have a Tuscan chicken pasta. There's no Tuscan chicken. I don't know any chickens in Tuscany that was caught up and put in a pasta. It doesn't work that way, right? So if you have a sandwich there, a panini or panino or anything like that, is typically it's more of a celebration of the meats and the cheeses and the ingredients inside.
Okay.
They will take out of necessity the miners, the old fishermen, the coal miners, the woodsmen. All those people would do it out of necessity back in the day. Take a nice piece of a tartan roll, stuff mortadella in it, wrap it up in a sack and put it in their bag, and they could eat that all day. They didn't sit there and eat the whole sandwich. Yeah. It was something they ripped apart and ate as they went, and it was a matter of stability. It was accessibility. That's what it was. Here in America now, we stuff everything we can in a bun as hard as we can and how as we want. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's great.
It is delicious.
Right? A panini. So you take this sandwich, right? And in Italy, you will get these. If you walk to the airport, you'll see it like this up in the thing. And they're usually in a more of a smaller baguette or a semolina, which is tighter and smaller, less bread, more focus on the meat. And the sandwich is this big, not this big. And then in different regions there too, you have the pressed paninis and stuff like that, where the sandwich is done between a pince shell, which is almost like this, with prosciutto and mozzarella, just melted real quick, and you eat it almost like a slice of pizza. So
it's easy.
It's easy, but it's delicious. The Italian people in Italy are more about the ingredient itself than trying to create tastes that supersede them.
Yep.
If you like prosciutto di Parma, you eat it as best you can in the rarest form.
Ooh, so I love it. And
less is more.
Yes, less is more. So I'm going to let you rant for a second for the food snobs out there that say American Italian food is not food.
It's not food?
That it's not good. Like it's, they think it's not accurate because it's not Italian.
It's 100% accurate. It's very accurate.
It came from the Italians.
It's very accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very accurate. It's so it's so accurate that it is a complete genre.
Yeah.
It's a complete thing.
Well, it was created by Italians in America.
Correct.
So it is Italian.
And that is a very strong statement. The Italian Americans came here to do the best thing they could for their families, for their situations, to get over here to this country. It doesn't make them any less Italian. They're a product of their environment. Just like when the shepherds and everything were putting this stuff together in Italy centuries ago, food-wise, they did the same exact thing here. So if there was no Italy and Italians started here, this would be Italian food. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because Italians still created it. They just did it here in this mountaintop or this vineyard or this. They're here now, right? So they took what was offered, just like they did back there, and they made it. So you can't compare Italian American food to Italian regional food. You can't.
It's two
They're
different
both
things.
amazing. They're both from the Italian creations. They're both from the Italian palate. Just those people over there did what they did in their region.
Yeah.
Now, if you took America, squeezed it together with Italy, it would just be another region of Italy. So therefore, it would be Italian food. So if you go up to northern Italy and you eat ossobuco with risotto, and you go down southern Italy where they wouldn't even come up with that, it would be more of a spiced type of tomato stewed with crustaceans or shrimp or fish or gambari or something like that. Two totally different worlds.
Yep.
So now you take that there. Just because they're both in Italy proper makes it Italian food, right?
And that doesn't make the southern less than the northern or the northern less than...
It doesn't. It's what they're used to eating. So now the Italians that were here made their version of it. Now, like I said, bring both the continents together and you would still have Italian food, because over here on this western part of it, they're making it this way. They're doing chicken with Parmesan style. Yeah. So if it was all one country, it would still be Italian food.
Still be Italian.
Correct.
It was just made by Italians in America.
It was made by Italians in a different place at a different time with the same fucking problem. They had what they had and they created what they created. It's just the other ones were done centuries before out of the same necessity.
Yeah, which is how food evolution in culture and, through thousands of years evolved.
And I think in such a short period of time, look at how old our country is here in America.
Not that old.
Look at Italy, how long that is. Empires have lasted longer in Italy. There are fucking neighborhoods in Italy older than this country that are still operating without question.
The same.
A fucking neighborhood.
Yeah.
With the same family name. Okay? With that being said, look how fast and innovative the Italian culture caught up.
Here in America.
Now in America. Now, if you look at Italian food now, if you're looking at all the modern Italian chefs like myself now, we have accessibility to all this stuff. I can make my own mozzarella here. We can make our own bread. We can dry cure our own guanciale, which I do. We can make our own bacala. We can do all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We can do everything now with technology that they can do over there. Of course it's great over there. You're still with the roots. I get it. But it's amazing how the Italian culture in America has caught up or is trying to catch up to where we don't even need to really import a lot of stuff. I make my own pasta for my restaurants here with semolina flour from Italy. But there are semolina flour manufacturers here that are catching up to the standard over there.
Finally.
Not finally.
Not quite.
Not quite, but they're working on it. Give it another 10 years and we're going to have some of the good product because everyone's getting smarter. And it takes a non-American, there's only so many Italians in this great land of America, right? There's so many different cultures. So we need an American person to catch up to making the Italian product. It's not for being Italian, it's for being healthy. So the standards of growing in food over there in Italy have been the same out of tradition for the respect for food. We're finally catching up to here as a culture, slowly. Slowly.
Yeah.
So American food, Italian food from Italy, Italian-American food, totally different, but yet kind of the same.
So I'm going to let you close out the rant on what the next generation of Italian Americans or American Italians, as they become more American, what they need to do to try and keep it alive. What do you think?
They have to cook. They have to get in the kitchen with their families, and that's the problem. Is
pass down the
kids aren't doing it. We all did it. We all sat with nonna, and we watched them eat. We would try and replicate how our uncles were sitting at the table. Bada bing, hey, I don't. You know what I mean? Sazito, get the fuck up, mio splash. We were imitating that when we were young. So we were growing up with that whole persona, right? But they're not doing that anymore. The younger generation of Italian guys aren't sitting there doing that. They're not talking that way.
They're not sitting as a family the way
I'll crack you in the head. They're not cracking each other in the head no more. Nobody's talking like that anymore. Nobody's doing that.
Fight more at dinner.
Yell, argue. It's just that the whole culture is different. So the only way the Italian-American culture is really going to work out is if the Italian-American kids, now young adults, continue to pass it on. If not, I can tell you right now that the Italian food scene from Italy is really starting to bleed over to this more. And eventually people are going to start going for Italian food. They're not looking for the chicken Parmesan anymore. They want the guanciale. They want the actual dishes. They want the ragu di cingale. They want stuff that when they go to Italy, they want that here. Because they're getting tired of that, because a lot of the Italian American people now are losing that Italian American culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In Italy though, however, it hasn't changed a lick. It's continuously going. All the time. Artisans are there. People are working in their cheese factories. Everyone's still doing the same thing because there's not really any other options. The culture is the culture is the culture.
Well, but if you can get back to the culture and people who are willing to travel, get out of the box, like actually go and see what it's like to sit there and have a meal with a stranger and sit in their place and learn about their family history and be inspired to, bring some of that back. And I do think the culture now, like we go in waves of like getting away from things and then we kind of go back to them because we miss it or we realize it's finally missing. Like you got to take it away long enough for them to know it's missing. And then they're like, oh, I need to do this more. So hopefully they will find that. I mean, it's sad. I mean, I don't have those recipes. Like, we're talking, my grandmother didn't cook. So I don't have those recipes to pass on. Would I love to? Because I cook. I have to make up my own. So I have to go and look things up or study. Or, I ask you questions.
When you look up things, you're going to find out more that there's a lot more things you're finding out from Italy, from Europe style. And they're giving you the traditions right away. That's the beauty of looking things up now on Google or ChatGPT or anything like that, is you actually have a more direct source to the actual source it came from. Whereas before you had to compromise, and we did the best we can. Making all the sauces, the different sauces. A lot of American Italians make one sauce. They make a tomato sauce, they put their meat in it, and they serve it on Sundays. End of story.
They don't.
Whereas in my household, in my Italian household, you have marinara sauce, you have sugo, you have pomodoro sauce, you have fradialo, you have all these arrabbiata, you have puttanesca. There's all kinds of different sauces that are applicable to different things, and not just one sauce.
Change it up.
Yeah. The heavy creams and all that stuff, that is definitely an Americanized palate, and it does come from Italy background because that's the northern version. Up in another quick little tip here is a lot of Italian food with the cream sauces and penne alla vodkas and things like that we're used to came from northern Italy, where the panna, which is milk or cream, was very they cooked with it. They cooked with butter.
Easier to get there back in the
the cold weather up there made butter your cooking source, your heat source. Okay, butter is how you had to heat your pan and sear and cook and saute. Where butter down south wasn't as, it was a luxury down south in Italy, but what was there? Olive oil, olive trees. They were like weeds, they were everywhere. So they used olive oil because olives didn't grow up north in Italy, it's too cold. So down south in the tropical climates, olives was dominant. So that's why there's a whole difference in the thickness of cooking up northern Italy. Sauces, butters, laden in fats, you know what I mean? Slow cooking. All the fatty stuff comes from the northern region of Italy. The rice, the starch, the ossobuco, the warmth food comes from that, because butter and fats is what they use to start their dishes with. Whereas down south, it was all coming from olive oil, olive trees. You know what I mean? So everything's much lighter, hence the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean Sea down at the south is where that Mediterranean diet comes from, because everything's lighter, more floral, more abundant, more fruity, more healthy. Whereas up north of Italy, it's a lot more fat-laden, meaty, warm, meat to the bones. And it comes down from Austria. It comes down from Switzerland. It comes down from Poland. It comes across from France. You know what I'm saying? And it meets up there. You see what I'm saying? Cool. So there's a lot of that influence when all those people were trading in Venice and Milan back in the day, is where all that influence came. Whereas Italy, the influence came from the top of Africa up to Malta and all that stuff. So you see different spices and heats and more acidity.
Different blends of things. So that's it's fascinating. It's fascinating to know some of the history, because I don't think a lot of people here, they take for granted the sauces and where they came from and the history. And we're blessed to have things on TV now where we can go see people travel there and get all that stuff. But I love that. I think that's
every sauce in Italy has a story, a history, and a lineage that you can trace back to exactly where it comes from. You can't say the same for American-style Italian food, but you kind of can, right? Again, it was never recorded out of necessity. So with all my studies and all the things I'm finding is all stuff I've learned along the way and pieced together with information, and then cooking myself and understanding now, oh, that's why this happened. I get it now. You know what I'm saying?
That's why they did this.
That's why they did this. So
that's cool.
Italian-American food, all good. Italian food from Italy, regionally, amazing. Are they both Italian? Yes, they are. Is one better than the other? You be the judge of that.
That's up to you. We think they're all great. Like, you love all your children equally.
I miss them both, so I love both. You know what I mean?
I love them both.
I have two hearts and one body, baby. So you have. So that's what it is. I love it, and it's an amazing thing.
I think this is fun. This is definitely fun. So definitely an eye opener for a lot of people here who want to cut down Italian American food. There's a reason behind it. Appreciate it, eat it, enjoy it. We don't shame. We don't judge.
There are just as many I got news for everybody. In my industry and how I see it, because I'm on both sides of it, there are just as many people that come here from Italy and look at the Italian menus and say, this ain't Italian food. This is bullshit, right? There's just as many Americans looking at real Italian food saying, this isn't even Italian.
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
Educate yourself.
Maron.
Maron.
You know? So, it's the bottom line is when you pick up a sandwich like this and you put it in from Italian origins and you know what's in that thing with the mortadella, the prosciutto, the fontina, the Asiago, the pepperoni arrostiti, all this stuff that's in that sandwich that makes it what it is, the semolina, we both can have the same fucking thing. When we go eat it, we're both genres of people, Italian American or Italians alike, will eat this and be very, very appreciative of it.
You want a
because
sandwich?
It's absolutely
sandwich
amazing.
Cheers me. Sandwich
let's
cheers.
do it.
We're
I'm gonna get the crunch in there too. Look at that shit. Look.
It is. It's amazing.
Cheers.
All right.
Boom.
Cheers.
Salute.
Ciao.
Oh my God. Ciao for now.
Ciao for now. That was good.
Good.